Hello, everyone, and welcome to the MarshStream and Marsh Bingo. It's Caitlin here. How are you all doing tonight? Upcoming this week at the Marsh, we have Adam Strauss's The Mushroom Cure on Fridays, and Adam Strauss's Not Unhappy on Saturdays. Those are both at the Marsh Berkeley location. And we have Dawn Reed's going out at our San Francisco location on Saturday nights. And now I'm very excited to welcome Mr. Josh Kornbluth.
Thank you, Caitlin. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. How about you, Josh?
Very complex to answer. And so to procrastinate from answering your excellent question, I'm going to sing. Mars Bingo, Mars Bingo, Mars Bingo, Mars Bingo, Mars Bingo, Mars Bingo. And welcome. Oh, I gotta get you guys back in my gallery view so I don't dominate the screen. Okay, cool. I was once interviewed for this over Zoom for this grant. And it hasn't done this to me before, but somehow it was said, and I couldn't change it as they were interviewing me. It was just in the full screen, just showing me while I was talking, like there was nobody else. So I was very self-conscious because as I moved, I would see myself moving, and it was, I didn't get it. I didn't get that grant. I was a finalist. So it is the 1st of July, Friday, 2022. We're in the process of losing all of our rights. Many of them have already been lost. Many of them have never been experienced by many people, many of our fellow citizens. But now it's just getting worse and worse. And so and the Supreme Court is like, I don't know, it's like the thug squad, 6 of them. They just, apparently they can say anything, like anything as a pretext to just basically, they're doing it because I can. Remember, my mom used to say, with some justification, when I would argue with her as a kid, she would say, because I said so. And that was sort of meant to be the end of the argument, because I said so. And it was frustrating to me. But I understood I was a kid, and that come the weekend, I'd be with my dad and he would let me do anything I wanted. So I had that, but not with the Supreme Court. With the Supreme Court, I feel like with this 6-goon majority, taking away the right for women to control their bodies, the right to abortion, which are then metastasizing in so many states into trigger laws that were already set up in many cases, including no exceptions in many of them for cases of incest or rape. It's something, you know. It's something. It's hideous and it's scary. And then one of the things, and then also there's a thing about, they said the EPA, the Environmental Protection Agency, doesn't have the right to limit industrial carbon release. So they don't have the right, is the Environmental Protection Agency. They don't have the right to do that. That one is really, really bad. And then there's one, I don't know if they decided it yet, that they were going to consider, is it over? But there's this one where they were considering giving all the power in a presidential election to the state legislatures or something like that, which would mean that then if the Republicans took over the state legislatures, many of which they've already done, that they just lie. They just do what they've been doing. They just say they would only accept an election if Trump or the Trump type people won. And I know I'm missing a couple of things. Oh, gun control. They reversed a very reasonable law about open carry gun control in New York State. So it's a terrible, terrible time. It's a terrible time. And I know that you look to me Fridays from 7 to 8. Sometimes if you guys talk and talk and talk, it goes a little beyond 8. But, generally the hour from 7 to 8, and you come to me, as an escape, as a way to escape the cares of the world and play the blessed game of bingo. And we will. But I just, very soon, I'm going to start. But I just want to acknowledge that I think that we're really, more than I ever thought, that there's a very, very strong chance that we will no longer have even sort of the kind of democracy that we are used to having come the next couple of years. That I think we might lose it. And because a minority of predominantly racists has taken over the things of taken over various forms of government, which is, it's good. It's a democracy. They ran for things and they won. And then the good guys, they're not. I don't always think Chuck Schumer is actually as radical as he could possibly be, given the situation. I think so. The people who are on our side, as much as I love them, so what does that leave? And it seems to leave. It seems to leave action, like by us, by the people. I was just biking on my bike, and I read this essay by the novelist Jonathan Franzen, and the first essay it's about birds, which I'm into, and it's about he's really into birds. But the first essay was sort of about how he had these mixed feelings about. It was weird, but it was kind of cool. But mixed feelings about people who were saying we have to stop climate change. And not that he doesn't believe that climate change is happening. It's that what he believes is that it's too late. And he wrote this a few years ago. And I will tell you something I've never told anybody. But I was hanging out. A friend of mine is like one of the most prominent, like early warning prophetic people who's known for fighting climate change, like just indefatigable. It's about my age. And this is like, there was a little event when he or she was releasing a book, and they asked me to sort of give the introduction. Before the introduction, I was sitting with him or her, my friend, who's devoted pretty much like his adult life or her adult life at this point, or their adult life to fighting climate change, to being the Don Quixote that's on the side of windmills. And what he said to me was, he or she had just gotten off a plane, and I said, well, how long do we have? And they said, Josh, it's already too late. This was maybe 10 years ago. This person's still fighting. People are still fighting. We're still fighting. It's really important to fight. But the thing Jonathan Franzen was talking about is, do we accept truly where we are? And then just one other thing. I read this article in the Cut by what's her name? She's really great. I've been having trouble remembering her name lately. But anyhow, it was about hope, the necessity of hope in the immediate wake of the Supreme Court's decision to reverse Roe versus Wade, and what she was saying was that we have to hope that It's not something that's a choice. It's not something that needs to be based on the rational belief founded on facts that we will win. Au contraire. Rebecca Traister. Traisters, or yeah, I think that's her name. Anyhow, incredible writer. And then I heard her being interviewed and stuff. And so I'm on both of those. I think things are really, really, genuinely, really bad. I think it's my obligation to try to do whatever I can do about it. And I think that thinking back to my ancestors, just even a few generations, who lived in the ghetto and were illiterate, and I have it on very excellent word from my late grandfather that all the kids in his family in the shtetl would live on sometimes on stale bread dipped in pickle brine. And I'm thinking, I have it better, and we got to fight. Also, I want to start doing live performing again, and I will, starting in a couple of weeks. I'm starting a backyard tour. Tour is a little bit of an exaggeration in the sense that I only have one gig lined up, but that's starting, and I think I'm going to perform in people's backyards or front yards. And I have various names of working on it. Kimby, Corn Bluth in my backyard. Sarah said maybe Jimby, Josh in my backyard. I'm actually sort of getting into Yimby, yes, in my backyard, because it seems to represent the way I feel about what we need to do. This is game number one. The first ball that I'm picking in these times in which we still must enjoy ourselves at different times is 062. 062. So if you have 062, mark down, mark it down. 062 on your bingo cards that you presumably have. N36. N36. 6. Two balls. I was expecting only one ball to come out, and then two balls came out, and then I was just telling myself in my brain not to turn this into it reminds me of my wedding night joke, but I think I failed. In any case, the second ball that came out is N43. 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 Oh, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to perform my piece Citizen Brain, which I've never gotten to perform live because I don't know if you missed it. There's been a pandemic, and performing outside, I figured that's pretty safe, right? Pretty safe. And then after each performance, this is my idea. After each performance, we do like an action, like the group, the audience and me. We do an action, whether it's writing postcards or marching somewhere or doing something, but that we have an actual direct thing that we do either before or after or both the event. G51. The thing that's a little scary about performing Citizen Brain live in front of an audience is that I never had to memorize it, unlike all my other pieces I've done, which I developed through improv, and then I memorized them, and then I performed them in front of audiences like hundreds and thousands of times sometimes, and I memorized them. I just have them in my head. I can do most of my like 8 or 9 shows, like hour and a half, 2-hour shows, like from memory, but not Citizen Brain, because I could actually, while I was performing on Zoom, I could put a Word document with the outline over on the screen, and it would still look like I was looking at people. And it was a cheat. It was cheating, and now I'm gonna pay the price. I have to learn the show that I have done. It's also been a while since I did it. B3. I also want to make sure it's relevant. It was a show that was commissioned by the shotgun players in Berkeley to lead into, through, and then out of our last presidential election. N39, N39, N39. And now we're in this other place that is also more of the same place. Just a lot to think about, but mostly I was riding around on my bike, and then I was sitting on my bench that I like in the shade. And the clouds came over, so it was all a shade. And reading this Jonathan Franzen book of essays that I borrowed from the library off of the Libby app, G60. And I realized I was filled up with this feelings, like the idea that I can perform for a live audience in the same place, which is the thing that I do, and that I might be, in fact, it is likely that I will be doing it again in a few weekends. It made me feel more whole, WHOLE, more whole, and which also made me feel how not whole I have felt, and of course, so many others. G50. I had read one Jonathan Franzen novel called The Corrections, which I actually thought was really great. And then either that novel or another one was selected by Oprah at the time to be Oprah's reading pick for that month in the Oprah Reading Club, whatever it's called, B2. And Jonathan Franzen, like publicly, he said, well, I don't know how I feel about that. Like every author would die to be like in Oprah's book pick, because then you sell billions of copies and it has her imprimatur. But his thing was, man, is it a little lowbrow, like that. And so she canceled it. And I remember thinking, damn, it really isn't always clear whether one should be totally honest. Which also reminds me of my wedding night. And we have N38. I-21. I think in terms of the things might not all be fixed within my lifetime idea, the corollary actually, it just makes things sort of easier for me to digest and process, which is that it may not be in my lifetime that all of these improvements happen. What I'm hoping to do is be part of the movement to make it possible for some future generation. So like if my side doesn't win, in the short term, it can't be over. I remember when George W. Bush beat John Kerry, B14. I thought that was the low point, I thought that was about as low, because, and then I forgot what I was going to say. I got so depressed. G48. B9. B12. I'm thinking about Wallace Shawn, the playwright and actor, the guy who goes inconceivable over and over in The Princess Bride, who's also a playwright, like super out there left-wing playwright. And something he wrote just keeps coming back to me, which is the idea about how much he loves comfort. He loves comfort. He loves the comfort of a comfortable chair. He loves his comfortable coat that he wears. He loves his coat. And then he talks about, this is in his piece called The Fever. He talks about, well, but who made the coat? What were the circumstances of creating the coat? And he traces it back to people who are suffering in other places. And so, and then it becomes my coat. And I-17. As I was thinking, some of this stuff seemed performative, you know. Like, it's really cool when people say, I'm speaking to you from this land, like Ohlone. I'm on Ohlone land, which is, I mean, I'm right next to Ohlone Park, you know. So they named it, they just took the land, but they named it Ohlone Park. I thought, you know, maybe it's kind of performative. It's like, you know, someone comes out and just goes, I'm doing this, so you know I'm really cool because I'm saying this. And then in a Jonathan Franzen kind of way, except in my case, without the ability to write novels or essays, I thought, God, it's so damn true. Like, I need to start doing it too. I-24. The Rebecca Traister article is really good. It's in New York Magazine's online thing that's called The Cut, which has, like, you can only have like 3 free things before then you subscribe. So that was my last one, but it's very good if you can get it. N37. And when I heard her being interviewed on this podcast about writing that article, what I loved her talking about was how insecure she is about so many things, including writing about the freedom of choice, because she's not an expert in that. I-19. And then Franzen, in his essay, he was writing about how when he writes stuff down, that it's like means more than when he tweets. And how the act of writing an essay that you want to publish, or that you know will be published, or that gets published, it creates, it forces you to order your many, many complex thoughts and fears and hopes into a series of hieroglyphs, essentially. And that process can teach you who you are sometimes a little bit. Before. Oh, 69. I've noticed that the Marsh, I feel a little bad about it, you know. The Marsh, you know, they have they run this ad, you know. I mean, I think I'm the only one who likes it on Twitter. They run the ad on Twitter, and then they run on Facebook, and then Facebook asks me, do you accept this on your timeline? And I go, well, yes, it's promoting this thing I do, you know. And but it promotes me as like it's improvised comedy. And now tonight I have been hilarious from the very first word to now. It's incredible how funny I have been. But I sometimes wonder if someone like tunes in, they go, there's, you know, like, hey, you know, and it's like, the thing about, but I think, you know, it seems very inviting, and I look like a happy, funny person in the picture. And sometimes I am. G57. But one thing that I think has become sort of evident with you guys, with my community here, is that I don't feel that I need to stick to one particular tone, one particular way of being. And that what I'm doing is just talking to you about the things that I'm thinking and feeling. And then intermittently, sometimes very intermittently, calling out single members. Oh, 72. Oh, 72. Oh, 72. Oh, 72. Terrified me when people would introduce me. I'd come on stage and they'd introduce me as a comedian. I really tried to stop that from happening because if you're not introduced as a comedian, but you're a theater artist and people never laugh, they still could have got something out of it and you fulfilled your brief, you know? Oh, 73. Oh, 73. Oh, 73. And 42. It's been so long. I used to live with audiences. That was my life. That's how I lived. That's how I made a living. I performed for audiences around the country. And it didn't last. Didn't last. I mean, it could come back. N45, 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 N45. I also haven't worked out like what happens if it rains. I mean, what happens if it's really cold? Sometimes I would go see Shakespeare in Orinda, and it'd be like 11 to 12 billion degrees below zero, and it was really cold. And it was sort of like not barred, but bird. You know, it didn't quite work, but I was working at it. It ended up sounding like bird, but what I meant is BRRRRR. But sometimes it's hard to absorb stuff when you're freezing to death. B13. B13. Well, then I thought, well, what if people have me in their backyard? Like they can set up like these heating things that are sort of lamps like you sometimes see outside and the things. And I thought, who has that? How many people have that? And I thought maybe more people than I know have it. Maybe almost everybody except me has it. It'd be a weird thing to have a bunch of those heat lamps living as we do in a small apartment. We have a space heater, but we never use it because it just seems like it will burst into flame. It won't stop at just comfort. It won't stop at comfort. It will go into the burning to cinder thing. It actually, there's an eternal flame in the little space heater. No matter how hot it is, you can walk by this little B1, 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 B1. And then I was thinking, well, like who has that many chairs? Like let's say 25 people, that'd be a cool audience. Oh, 61, oh, 61, oh, 61. And then like, what should I charge? And the thing is, I like to charge sliding scale, pay what you can. No one turned away for lack of funds. That's been my standard thing. However, if I actually do a bunch of these things and I do that, I may only make like $1. So I'm working on that as well. And Wallace Shawn is amazing. He questions everything. He's a theater guy who questions theater. Like I interviewed him once in the theater. He says, well, what's this about? You're just talking normally. And then you go up on stage and say, hey, look, you know, he said, that's just artificial. You know, it's almost indefensible. And it's really hard to argue with Wallace Shawn. One, because he's cute. And two, because he's really smart and really weird. G59. G59. I was surprised. I thought he wasn't Jewish for some reason. And I said to him early in the interview, I said, oh, Wallace Shawn, I didn't realize you were Jewish. You're really Jewish? And he said, well, my mother was Jewish and my father was Jewish. Is that enough for you? And I said, oh, yeah, no, that's by any standards, Jewish. His father, William Shawn, was a famous editor for a long time for the New Yorker and was famous for his, it was a very genteel magazine that he under his editing pencil, I-25. You never saw curses, curse words, just, everything. And everything, just the world seemed very, very moral and ethical. And then it turns out that William Shawn, who's Wallace Shawn's father, he had Wallace Shawn, and I don't know if he had siblings, Shawn, and then he was married, William Shawn, to his wife, and then he did a separate wife. He did a separate wife in another place.
Josh, it looks like we've got a bingo in the chat from Kim.
Kim, is this true? And if it's true, where are you?
Yes, I'm a black square.
You're a black. There's no reason to use language like that about yourself. I think you're a very well lit square in terms of your spirituality.
But you can hear my bingo. Here's the last one, I-25.
Yes. Yes, no, I can hear it. It's weird. I used to see like if there's someone. Oh, wait. So it's a black square so that it's like totally black?
Kim doesn't have their camera on.
I cannot, my camera doesn't work. But you can hear my card.
Bingo.
Yeah. I think it might be better. It sort of makes it into like a radio program in a sense, in that we have to imagine each other. For instance, you're not aware that I'm not wearing clothing right now. and I'm not aware that you're covered in the blood of a mammal. So, it's like two things that we don't know about each other, and that's fine. Because the salient thing in our relationship at this moment is that you have bingulated, and that is the happy news. And in fact, I can't ask you to show me your bingo card.
If you let me share screen, I think I can do that, and I can also read it. Either way.
Wait, you can share a screen, but you. Oh wow! Cool. Whoa, you're blowing my mind. So you can share a screen, but cannot turn on your camera.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. You should.
There's no bandwidth for the camera.
Screen, if you'd like to.
Here's that. And there's my bingo card.
This is really important. There's a lot of legal reasons why I can't accept. I could be sued, frankly. I can be sued by the other player. Whoa! That is so cool. Okay, that's awesome. Wow, you have a Duolingo.
And yeah, and it does read. This online card is amazing.
Well, but what am I, chopped liver or something? No, it is really.
You're super amazing.
It doesn't have to be about me. Yes, it is amazing. And so I can actually see that you have B3, I-25, free space, G60, and O72.
Mm-hmm.
And that forms the diagonal bingo, which is known as Diagalingo, or it is known in Pakistan, strangely, just the same way. They say it exactly the same way, Dialingo. So congratulations, you have won. I wish that as part of your prize, I'm hoping that as part of your prize, you will be gifted with a camera.
A working camera.
With a working camera. That's out of my hands because those decisions are up to Caitlin. So I'm going to leave it to Caitlin. If she wants you to have a camera, she'll give you a camera. If it's within her power to give you a camera, she'll give it to you if I know her. I think I've known her for a few weeks now. Caitlin?
Well, I'm not sure that a camera is within my powers, but what is within my powers is a Ruby membership.
Oh gosh, okay.
And so to review, the Ruby membership is a general admission annual pass for one to our Marsh shows, and there's a few added perks, including invitations to members-only events, priority tickets for special events and performances, post-show meet and greets, talkbacks, MarshStream media, members-only emails, and so much more. And so I sent you a message in the chat. You'll be able to send me an email, and I'll get you set up with that.
Thank you so much.
Congratulations,
Kim.
Kim, where are you geographically? Are you in Hawaii?
Yes, I am.
I can tell because as a lieutenant in Antifa, I'm tracing all of you constantly. So all I want to say is, if you know someone with a backyard in Hawaii, they would have to fly me there and put me up. But I would really love to perform in a
Be
backyard.
more than happy. Okay.
Yeah. So just don't make it your focus unless you really feel that I deserve it. Anyhow, congratulations and blessings to you. Thank you for playing.
Thank you so much.
I just in your honor now, I've put on a tuxedo, so I'm very well dressed. And now it is time for game number 2 of Marsh Bingo. I mean, Jonathan Franzen was saying, he said, no, look, it's like it's over. It's like getting super hot. It's like, you can't. But then he sort of acknowledged, I really loved it because there was an essay in which he went, even this essay that I'm writing, I think maybe I'm wrong. So in part, so that was cool. G47. G58. I-19. Sarah and I took our e-bikes up into the hills of Berkeley yesterday. It was a first for me with the e-bikes. I used to ride my road bike up to Inspiration Point and stuff in Berkeley because as a badass cyclist. But then with my recent weird breathing problems and muscle things and stuff, I haven't been doing that. That was exciting. By turning my bike to the highest level, which is turbo level, seems like, based on my experience yesterday, it could take me pretty much anywhere, maybe even straight up in the air. Turbo, N32. I'd never before yesterday been criticized at length by a park ranger. I don't know if that's something that you have experienced, but it had not happened to me. One of the big reasons being that I've rarely ever been in nature, but it said no bikes with a thing in this part. We went by the little farm in up in the hills of Berkeley, and a little guy came tootling around. Like, he wasn't a little guy; he was a regular sized guy in a little, like, sort of golf carty like truck. He came by, and I was like, "Wow, the ranger's coming to talk to me." I've never talked. Maybe I've never talked with a ranger. N45. Maybe he had some questions for me about how I was receiving the nature that he was working in. But no, in fact, even though we had walked our bikes, you can't have a bike. You cannot possess a bike. A bicycle cannot be where we were. And that was unfortunate for me because where I was in a bench in the shade, and I was very happy being where I was. While Sarah was searching for acorn woodpeckers. I don't know if any of you are into acorn woodpeckers, but they're really 070. Let's see if this actually works. I have these cards, and the top card, these bird flash cards that I got, the top card is usually acorn. It is! Okay. So that's the acorn woodpecker. As you see, this one is holding an acorn, and they live in oak and mixed oak coniferous forests on slopes and mountains. I'm doing this from memory. But anyhow, that was on Sarah's thing. She wanted to see, she loves them. She loves them and wanted to see them. And she has seen them in Tilden Park where we were before. And in fact, no, not only was I chewed out by a ranger, but also in all of Tilden Park, the acorn woodpecker did not present itself. And 31 and 31. So like we were going back downhill, you know, which is great because I didn't have that much battery left. Because when you go on you go on turbo, you know, it's limited. That may be a life lesson as well. But we were barreling down, and then we were going, and there were some goats. I don't know if you've ever like come across goats. Probably you have. There's a song that I would, if I could do it, I would share it with you guys. It goes, "Hey babe, would you like to buy some goats with me?" It's an actual song. It's very cheerful. I probably could figure out how to share it. Country song. G50. Anyhow, there are a whole bunch of goats by the side of the thing, you know. So we looked at the goats, and they're like this, you know. They're the jaw. So I think they had been drinking. G50. Couple goats were not happy with grass or hay or weeds. They were eating a whole tree, which was impressive. So then we're about to leave and continue downhill past the goats when Sarah goes, "Oh my God!" And we stop again. And it's like a paradise of acorn woodpeckers. They were as James Joyce might have said, the acorn woodpeckers were general in this part of the road, and there was even a probable nest. And I was so excited. We're so happy. I-30. There were other birds too. She knew because she heard it. She heard the sound of the acorn woodpecker. She said, "Didn't you hear the woodpecker, acorn woodpecker?" I said, "Well, no, because you know I'm hard of hearing." So also my vision's going a little bit. So as I think I've discussed before, I like to identify birds by touch if I can. B12. I'd like to confirm their identity in a tactile way, which is not allowed. You're not supposed to go around touching birds. I knew that. The ranger didn't even have to tell me that you can't touch birds. Acorn woodpeckers, so Sarah's taking a picture with a new camera, and acorn woodpeckers, remember voguing? Voguing, you know, the dance thing where it's gonna, no matter what I would do, indicate, it would look incredibly stupid and goofy for me to indicate voguing. But they're voguing in their bird way. They're like this, and then like that. Like they're holding a pose. They're holding a pose, and the pose, each pose lasts for just about a part of a second. They are very liberated. B4. G46. And that's winning, you know, for birder, is you see the bird. You see the bird. That's winning. It's not actually possessing the bird, stuffing the bird, touching the bird, dancing with the, no. In fact, you're not supposed to even affect the bird. The bird shouldn't be like, you should be chopped liver to the bird, unless it's a bird that, yeah, Jewish bird. G56. But it is so joyful to be looking for a bird and to hear and then see that bird. I can't believe it. I-24. I was up in the woods. We still go by. We went by a couple of times. Went by the marina in Berkeley, checking in on the kite family. I may have mentioned a couple of kites who had baby kites that are in the very top of a tree, and they're waiting to fledge. You know, they're still doing it. They're bigger now, but they're doing this thing like, oh, ha, that's a wing. Like they're just constantly shocked that they have wings, but haven't put it together to flap them such that they fly. It's a very special kind of tender time in their lifespan. And there was a guy playing basketball, because there's a little basketball hoop there, and a little girl who's his daughter who was doing her homework. And he said, "What are you looking at?" And we said, "Oh, we're looking at these kites." And they said, "Oh, my daughter's really excited." It was just incredibly sweet, because some student at Cal Berkeley gave his daughter a huge book on identifying birds, and then she's now in love with birds. So she looked up at the birds, first finishing her homework, which I disapprove of. I think you should drop what you're doing and come look at the birds, but I'm not going to critique someone else's parenting. I-23. And then we saw, I'm going to call him our friend, but he doesn't love us. And maybe we all have friends like that. Greenie, I guess Greenie is what I've been calling him, but the green, whatchamacallit. God, I'm really bad with these words. No, not that. Heron, green heron. I keep trying to, because I just have trouble remembering certain bird names and people names. I've been thinking, that I should like come up with a mnemonic. So with egrets, I think no egrets, like no, that's how I try to remember it. But with herons, I haven't, and so I just thought like King Herod. If I think of King Herod as a bird, I just saw this thing of the great late Bob and Ray. I saw a video. They were like my favorites, Bob and Ray, the comedy team, mostly on the radio. And they have these fictional interview things. And this guy was being interviewed who was introduced as the memory expert. They were now interviewing memory expert. So he says, "Well, I understand you do many feats of memory." He goes, "Well, yes." He goes, "Well, how does that work?" And so the guy says, "Well," says, it's let's say, for example, I meet someone named Green Falcon. I will picture like a green falcon. And that's how I remember the name, Green Falcon. So then Ray Goulding, who's the other guy, he goes, "Well, what about like a name like mine, like Goulding?" And then so the guy who's his partner goes, "Well," his answer is, "Well, if your name was Yellow Broom, then it would be really easy." N37, 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 N37. N44, 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 N44. If you haven't listened to Bob and Ray, you get a chance to listen to Bob and Ray, like they're on the interwebs and stuff like that. Their most famous, I think, sketch is the Komodo dragon expert. This guy who's interviewed. And I think I mentioned recently, because of this guy who was a witness in the January 6th airing, I was mentioning Bob and Ray's interview of the president of the Slow Talkers of America. These are all joy-filling routines. I-28, 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 I-28. One things I was thinking about too as I was writing around is maybe I should just give up on becoming a poet. That was just something. It's just not it was a side idea. As I may have mentioned, I read a poem to you, is the one poem I've written. And I thought, wow, maybe I could be a poet because I wrote this poem. And I'm just thinking, I don't understand most poems. I've only written one poem. I haven't read very many poems. Does that sound like the basis of a poet? And it doesn't. It doesn't to me. I have to admit it. B10, B10. B15, 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 B15. But I think, well, what if that's the best way to express myself now in this part of my life? Is through poetry. What if that turns out to be like my best way of expressing? And then I say to myself, too bad, Josh, think about something else. You're burning yourself out. 071, 071. But in my little heart of minds, I haven't given up on being a poet. And I probably won't ever give up on being a poet. I've given up on being a professional basketball player, but that took decades. So I don't think I'm gonna outlive the poem. 069, 069, 069. I continue to read articles about how to read poems so I can read poems better. And one thing that a lot of them say is read it twice, read the poem twice. So, and then say it aloud. That's the sort of read it twice and then say it aloud. G53, G53, G53. I just think, no, I monologue. That's what I do, not a poet. But what if I'm robbing the world of this vast trove of poetry all written when I'm 63 or older? This vast trove of poetry that becomes the focus of many people's dissertations. 072, 072. David Mamet said this cool thing. This is before he went totally crazy out of his mind and became a Trump acolyte. Well, he was already crazy, but before he became a Trump acolyte. But he wrote this thing. He said, what you want to do is you want to end up doing something that you're good at and that you can get yourself to do. So for him, he wasn't able to get himself to be an actor. It was like a drag, auditions, stuff like that. But writing, he was good at it and he could get himself to do it. And I have a thing, which is talking about myself improvisationally in front of live audiences when such things are possible. That is what I do. B2, B2, B2. And 41, and 41, and 41. It would be really weird if as I get older, I actually paradoxically get more and more ideas of things that I can become. You know, fireman, ballerina. I mean, it all could be open. B8, 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 B8. B13, B13. I tried reading this book about birds' migrations. I just learned there's some books I can read, and there's some books I can't read. 061, 061, 061. I mean, I can read them. But I like enjoying it. I like enjoying it. But today, reading on that bench in the shade, it's actually closer to the Richmond Marina where my bench is, and reading that Jonathan Franzen essay from a book that I had just moments before digitally taken out from the Berkeley Public Library, G55, G55, G55. And having actually come upon a number of acorn woodpeckers yesterday, the combination of those two experiences made me think maybe I can just experience things and enjoy them. And I don't have to be good at them. Maybe I can just be. I-29, I-29, I-29. N43, 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 N43. G54, 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 G50, G54. The one thing I don't want, that I want to get out of my personality is the tendency to think someone will deal with it. That's the thing I want to get out of my personality. Wow, the Supreme Court has just become, they're just thugs. They're just making up rationales for taking away rights. But someone will probably take care of it. Trying to get myself off of that. It's comforting, but dangerous. 074, 074, 074, 074. B5, 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 B5. Oh, 63, oh, 63, oh, 63. And then there's basketball. And I know not all of you are really into basketball. I know a lot of you are really into basketball. But the Golden State Warriors, who are now our NBA champions, they just parted with this really beautiful player, wonderful guy named Gary Payton II.
It looks like we've got a bingo in the chat from Kim again.
Kim, are you saying you're sorry because you bingoed again? Or
Yes.
yeah.
I feel bad.
But Kim, remember when like 10 minutes before we started this bingo session, you paid me $10? Well, this is the result of that. And frankly, I was thinking, I didn't say it, I didn't verbalize it, but I was thinking, wow, if she can afford to bribe me to get her to win bingo, then how come she can't afford to fix her camera? But I got past that. I got past that. Sarah has said, wow, and I don't know if something has happened to her to make her say, wow, but if you could elaborate, Sarah, I'm tantalized. In the meantime, you've won again.
Oh.
No, it's not bad. It's not bad to do. If, you know what's bad is enforcing minority rule in a democracy. That's bad.
Oh, yeah.
That's bad. This is not that. But this is, it's just, it's good fortune. And it's good fortune that you deserve.
Aw.
Because you paid me. No, you didn't pay me. Because you deserve it. And you at this point, I kind of trust you.
Okay,
so,
you can hear my card again.
Okay.
Bingo.
It's cool. I get to see your card. I
Bingo.
feel like it's like sort of a version. I'm just doing a version kind of analogous to an arranged marriage.
Sight unseen.
That we can't see each other, but I can see your card and say, well, she shall be my winner. They say that arranged bingo wins end up working out in the long term, just as well as random ones. Are you sharing
the 40% or whatever it is? What is I don't know the percentage. Okay.
So are you working on the, oh, okay, here we go.
There it is. And it's diagonal the other direction this time.
Yeah. So what that's telling me is that you're not totally set with your ideology. I think there's still some flexibility, which is good, but don't take it too far. You have to stand for something. Eventually, you're going to have to pick whether you're an ascending diagolingo or a descending diagolingo. But at this point, we're just going to leave that open because maybe you don't know yet, and we'll have to see. In the meantime, you got B7, I-28, and free G55 and O63, which is, yes, in fact, a descending diagolingo. And you have one, again, I'm getting private messages from all the other players that they now hate you. But the thing to focus on, Kim, is that how you feel about yourself. So congratulations. And maybe this prize will be involve a camera or a fixed computer. I don't know, but I'm going to pass it along. I'm going to pass it along to Caitlin.
Oh, I would if I could, Josh. But for winning game 2, that means you've also won a gold membership, which is a general admission annual pass for 2. So technically now it means you can bring a total of 3 people between the pass for 1 and the pass for 2. If you ever do make it to our shows in person.
Okay. Well, the gold is nice. That means I can bring a +1. Am I able to gift the ruby to someone in this group? I feel bad. I never win, so I'm shocked I won twice. I rarely win anything.
Kim, maybe you know this by now, but here at Marsh Friday Night Bingo, we frown on generosity and grace. It's not something that we generally applaud, but maybe in this case we can make an exception.
Maybe if there's someone who would like the ruby, or
I think most of us have memberships by this point.
oh, okay. Is there anybody who doesn't?
Many of us involved in this bingo community are poor in money, but rich in Marsh memberships.
Okay.
That is our wealth.
Okay.
But if anyone wants it, it's yours. Okay, cool. I'll let you guys work that out.
Okay.
Cool. But congratulations again, Kim.
Thank you so much.
I mean, geez, it's by my calculations, it's like just 5 o'clock where you are. And you could be doing a lot of other stuff in Hawaii than doing this. And I appreciate it. So, hey, we've gone past an hour that was packed with comedy. And it's been a lot of fun. I got to check in with Ellie here. Ellie, I believe I didn't see you last week.
Yes, sorry, I forget what I was doing. Yeah, sorry to have missed it.
Yeah, no, you probably just felt as the week went on, you felt.
Oh no, I did. I went to Legion of Honor in San Francisco.
You went to a what?
Legion of Honor Museum.
See, aesthetically, can that be anywhere near as pleasing as looking at the screen filled with rectangles? I say no. Did they have, was there a particular thing there, particular?
Yes. It's the couture designer called Guo Pei from Beijing. It was her exhibition. It's called Couture Fantasy.
Okay, that's something Sarah's going to want to see. Got to work that in. So that's a good reason.
Oh yeah, because afterwards I took my mom to dinner. So sorry, my mom comes first before you.
Wow, Ellie. Wow, things were going so well. Then you hit me with this.
No, I haven't seen her for a while, so sorry.
I put you way before my mom, but it doesn't have to be equal. It doesn't. It doesn't. If you both fell into the ocean, I would save you first. I mean, I know it's horrible to say, but
otherwise, how are you doing? Forget about this Supreme Court, verdicts and stuff, judgments. You okay?
Oh, by the way, the thing that can be done, as maybe you all know, but there's no rule against expanding the Supreme Court at any time. The president and the Congress can expand the Supreme Court to anything. They don't have to be 9. They used to be 6. They could be 12. They could be 19. And if Biden doesn't do that, I'm not talking to him anymore. So, but now I can't tell, is there like a flower display there? If it is, it's very small.
Yes, I got it from my front yard. It's azalea and what is it called? Silver ragwort.
Well, when you put it that way, it's pretty impressive. It's nice.
I was trimming them, and I didn't want to throw them away, and I put it together into a little my glass here. Isn't that pretty? Isn't that cute? That's very cute. Otherwise, you'd have been gone to the yard bin.
I'm sorry, what?
These are the extra trimmings because they were growing out of control. So normally I'll throw them away in the yard bin, in the yard garbage bin, but I kept them and arranged a little bit here.
Ellie, that may seem like a small step to you, but I think it's a big step. You made a choice. You could have left them in the bin. Instead, you arranged them there. Mm-hmm. You shared it with us.
Yes. I did this morning.
So if you felt closer to me than to your mom, I would tell you some other things, but clearly we're not like on that basis. And it's fine. It's fine. It's cool. It's cool. I don't need to everyone's total love above everyone else. Great to talk to you. Great to talk to all of you. I'm sorry that Kim dominated the winnings. I know how important it is to win. And you can just take out your frustrations in interpretive dance. In the meantime, it's time for us all to sing this composition. No, not my Fifth Symphony, recently performed by the New York Philharmonic, but wait, what am I doing? Okay, no, it's weird. My accordion has become a stranger to me. My accordion has imposter syndrome. Everyone, let us all sing. Marsh.
Marsh, bingo, marsh, bingo, marsh, bingo, marsh, bingo.
One more time in the possibly futile hope that Kim's computer will develop a chlorophyll-based camera system that will allow her to see and be seen. Marsh,
Bingo,
marsh,
bingo,
marsh,
bingo, marsh, bingo,
bingo,
Whoa! Boycott the
Take
fourth.
care. Well played, everyone. Take care.
Thanks.
Josh.
Bye.
Happy
Thanks, everybody.
Fourth.
Bye.
Happy 4th of July.
Everybody.